Hi there, my dear friends, and welcome to my channel. This is our fourth layout for the double page mini series that I'm currently doing May 2020. And so you saw my inspiration there. Now, again, this layout will not look like anything like the inspiration, but I do, like I've said before, I like the configuration. I like the smaller squares, and then you have the big squares or rectangles denoting for the bigger photos. And so that's what I'm going to do here. Now, initially, I thought that I could layer some pattern paper to go with it. I don't know if I've said this before, but one thing that I am noticing that is hard with quote unquote following the sketch is that the template is really focused on the photos. And so the background paper is really kind of suggesting that you have very minimal paper, or if you do, you have like cardstock, which is, like a solid color background, because the photos will stand out. Well, as you know me, I love my papers, and so I did want to add some pattern papers in the back, and so that's where I'm going to have a little bit of trouble, especially with this particular layout. So I'm going to start off with the gray cardstock, and then I'm going to use these papers. It's just stripped papers with the blocking on the left and right edge, and I really like that. But then I'm gonna add this triangle paper here as another background border. I'm going to do one as vertical and then another horizontal. Now I'm already thinking that it needs to have some kind of edge to it so that it will differentiate between the striped paper and also the triangle. So I am going to be adding a border punch, and that particular paper is just more wood grain. It does have very subtle pinks, hearts in it, and so I'm going to try to incorporate that, but I do like how mostly solid it is. And then I have a bunch of photos. These photos are from a camping trip last year. Was it last year? Yes, it was last year. And so that's what I'm going to be putting in. I do have a lot more photos than I have room for, and so I will be just kind of whittling them out here in a sec. But again, the sketch called for square photos and then rectangles. So I am trimming some of the photos, or most of the photos here, as 3x3. Now with me trimming it as 3x3, I was able to get more photos in there. However, the size that I have trimmed it to was still a little too big, that I couldn't do the exact design of my initial inspiration. But here's the thing with photos, right? Like, do you want it to be too small that you can't really see the essence of what you're trying to capture in the image, or so that you can plug it in exactly like your sketch? Or would you rather just kind of maneuver it in a way where it's similar to the sketch, but it's not going to be the same, but it's totally fine? At least you have your photos. So I want to know, like, what kind of a scrapbooker are you? Are you the one that follows the sketch to a T, especially the measurements, or are you one that deviates just so that you can put in the photos that you wanted to use? So I'm kind of more the latter. Like I said here, I would rather have the photos, and so this is not going to look like this sketch, but that's totally fine. Now, the initial problem that I have, so these are the photos that I'm going to be using. Now the problem that I'm already seeing is that there's just too much pattern on the backside, and so I'm going to try to matte my photos, and I've auditioned the craft, the white, and now I'm going to go with the vellum, just because I like the idea of a matte, but then if there's just too much of it, I feel like I don't want that either. And so now I have gotten all of my stuff, my photos matted, and I have made my punched out borders, and so I'm putting these things together, but I am not committed to it quite yet, especially with the busy background, and so I haven't adhered anything. I just wanted to kind of see how they're going to look. So this is where I deviate. Instead of having the squares over to mostly the center and then it goes out to the right, I'm actually going to extend it where on the bottom you will see all of my 3x3 inch squares, and then you will see it over to the right edge and then also in the middle of that left paper. And that's how this layout is going to be. So right off the bat, it's going to look different from the sketch. And then I was kind of humming over, and I really don't like that extra triangle pattern paper there. It's just too busy, and honestly you're not even seeing it with all of the photos. So again, I am going to lay out my photos. I think that striped pattern paper is enough as my background, and then I'm going to put that my photos again the way I had laid it, and then now I kind of like that better because it's not so busy. Tell me what you think. Do you think I should have added the triangle pattern paper, or should I stuck with this one? Let me know in the description box below, because I'm kind of curious what you would have done if you were doing this paper. Now, I didn't want those scallop borders to go to waste, and so I figured, well, maybe I could put that on the top and bottom edges, and I actually like that. I like that extra border to contain my layout. Now, I still like this paper, and so I'm going to try to see if maybe if I cut down those triangles like as is, and then maybe sprinkle them, kind of acting like a visual triangle, like clustering them in 3 different parts. I wonder what that would look like. So I'm going to cut them out here and cut just 3 of them here and see how they will look. And I know that I have some space there on the bottom right, and then also there on the left. And so I'm going to see if I can kind of put that in there. Now, that's totally fine. But the problem that I'm having here is that the colors are subtle. Like, I feel like they're not standing out very well. That if I were to put that there and then maybe layer up some more embellishments, that you won't really see it. And so I remember that I had this kind of paint splatter or paint scraped paper from another collection, and it's just a scrap paper. And so I'm going to see if I can incorporate that in I'm thinking 3 different spots in my layout, but right now I am going to be putting something on the left. Now, the initial plan that I have for this is going to be where I'm going to put my title. And another thing that I've noticed when I was creating this layout at this point was that I really don't have any room for journaling. So with this title block, I'm actually going to use that as kind of an interactive piece where I am going to just adhere the top flap of that so that it could be lifted up, and then I'm going to do kind of my hidden journaling. But before that, I really still wanted to use this leftover piece, and I feel like if I cut that into circles, I can create 2 more pieces with that, and then I could use that as a visual triangle. Now, would it show, or would it be not evident, but like, would it really show with all of the photos? Probably not, but at least I can add just a little bit of it in the background. And I just like the idea of having 3 or having visual triangles with my photos. So I'm using my Creative Memory circle cutter to cut some circles, and I did this actually with layouts number 1 and 3 already. So a lot of the tools that I'm using, I have been using with all of my other layouts just because they're sitting on my table, and I do create these layouts in succession. So all of my messes that you see on the right side are probably all the messes from the other layouts as well. But anyway, so I like that it's just peeking out of the back sides of the photos. Again, these photos are from a camping trip. We live in Colorado, and so we're landlocked here in Colorado. We don't have beaches, something that we miss from living in California, but we do have lakes. And so this one is called the Pueblo Lake, and we try to go there once a year. I don't know if we're going to be able to do it this year. We're hoping, we're very optimistic that we will be able to go for our annual camping trip, but we will see. But we picked this one spot that is very close to the water. We actually just behind our camping spot is a trail to go right up to the water. And my husband made a canoe a long time ago. He was in Scouts. He was a scoutmaster, and so he taught his boys how to make a canoe, and then he had a canoe from when he was a scout, and that's this one right here. And he kind of he kept the frame and then just redid the canvas covering of it. And so that's what we have. We have this canoe that he's had for a long time, and we just putter around the water with it. We paddle, and it's been so much fun. Now, this particular trip, so we had planned this for months, and we've made our reservations for our camping spot. And then the Thursday, we left on a Sunday. The Thursday prior to us leaving, I fell 5 feet down our window well. And so I had to go to the emergency room, and I had to have crutches, and I was fine. Thankfully, no broken bones. But the problem was I hit my left leg really hard on the when I fell, and so I was limping during this time. So I didn't go swimming because my leg wasn't it wasn't in proper condition for me to kick my legs when I'm in the water. But I did get to go on the canoe because they helped me to go in there. And I mean, if you're in a canoe, your legs it's not really working. It's mostly just your hands because you're using your arms to paddle. And so that's what I did. For the most part, when my family was swimming, as you can see down there, I was sitting with my leg propped up, and I was reading an ebook on my phone. And then everybody else was swimming, and I could kind of see them in the water. But then I was able to still do some paddling with the canoe. And so that was the specific things about this specific year of when we went to Lake Pueblo. Now, as you know me, I like to marry different fonts with my title, and so I am using 3 different letter stickers for my title here. I used great, that's the glitter title, and then I'm using these smaller basic gray chipboard letters for the outdoors, and then I'm going to be using that sticker sheet from American Crafts that you see on the left side, and that's what I'm going to be using to spell out the. Now I'm trying to make sure that these stickers are they're contained within the banner that I created, because like I said before, this is going to be there's going to be a hidden journaling on the back side of that. And so I don't want that the edges of it to close. And so I made sure that the letters were just contained within that area. Now, as you can see, the O for the outdoors, the first O is kind of out there, but I made sure that I just adhere or put adhesive onto the side where it's going to hit that paper. And I did test that out a little bit and made sure that, I can flip it back and forth. Now this one was my fun part. Here is the embellishments. I have this chipboard outdoors. I think that's Echo Park. Anyways, it's just chipboard embellishments, and so I wanted to sprinkle that a little bit here. Now, I didn't get a chance to finish off the whole chipboard sheet that I was kind of hoping for, but I still like the elements that I had picked from that sticker sheet. So I'm just adhering all these things now, and just kind of embellishing it. I really, really like that wagon, the car with the canoe on the top. I thought that that was just very apropos to this layout, because I have a picture here. We don't have the wagon, but we do have the SUV. And then we did put the canoe on top of our SUV. So that just kind of mimicked that really well. And so now I'm just going to finish it off. I felt like the tag, the tag that I used, or the banner that I had created, just needed something on the bottom. Initially, I had wanted that chipboard to go on that centerpiece, but it just wasn't, it didn't fit. So I'm just going to put that on the bottom, on the background paper, and then I'm going to wrap some twine for this. And then I think I will finish it off with some enamel dots here and there, and then a label for my date, and then I will pre-print my journaling after I finished doing the video. But anyways, that is my video. I hope that you liked it and you've got some inspiration and tips. And if you have any questions, make sure that you leave it in the comment section below. We are on video number 4, so I have one more layout after this, and then my mini series is done, and then I can move on to other series, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.